Hello everyone. Our topic for today is genetics and we will be discussing some basic fundamentals of genetics. Now whenever a child is born in the family, the looks of the new child is immediately compared with the looks of the family members. The child may be compared with the looks of the mother or the father, or the child may be compared with the looks of the grandparents like the Nana ji, Nani ji, Dada ji or Dadi ji. Or sometimes the looks of the child may also be compared with the looks of the great-grandparents and so on and so forth. Genetics is the chapter which explains about all the characters possessed by the child which it might have inherited from its parents or from any of the ancestors. Now the characters which are compared, it may be the eye color. The eye color of the child may be brown or blue or black or any other color like grey, yellowish, etc. The child's skin color is also watched. The child may be fair, then the family members become very happy. गोरा लड़का है या लड़की है. Or the child may have dark color like blackish or brownish, etc. The earlobes may be free or attached. The lip shape may be thick or thin. The cheek may be dimpled or it may be normal. The child may be normal vision, may be having normal vision, or the child may become a colorblind. But this cannot be found out at the time of the birth of the child. The child may become tall or short. But again students, this cannot be noticed at the time of birth. This will be noticed later on in its life. And so on and so on. As a student, I was always fascinated with the chapter genetics, but a few doubts would always remain in the mind. So questions would arise like what is the difference between chromosomes and genes? What is haploid and diploid? When do we use the letters like X and Y? Or when do we use letters like capital R, small r, capital T or small t, etc. And how does the newly born child inherit the different characters? And many problems are always given at the end of the chapters. So how do we solve these problems? Let's recall a few things. All the living organisms on this earth, may it be a plant, an animal, a human or microbes, etc., their bodies are made up of cells and all the cells have nucleus. The nucleus has chromatin fibers which condenses to form the chromosomes. Of course, the prokaryotic cells and the organisms like bacteria don't have a well-defined nucleus, but they do have the chromosomes. Chromosomes are always present in even number in the cells of the organisms. Like we can see here, ascaris has 2 chromosomes in all its cells, onion has 16, maize has 20, and let us take humans, they have 46 chromosomes in all their cells. Now this condition is known as diploid. Let's take 3 examples here. The first one, ascaris, which has 2 chromosomes in all its cells. That is the diploid condition represented by 2n. Half the number of these total, that is 1. That is the haploid condition represented by n. Second example, onion, which has 16 chromosomes in all its cells. That is the diploid condition. And if we take 1 chromosome from each pair, the number becomes 8. And that is the haploid condition represented by n. Now we take the humans as the example who have 46 chromosomes in all their cells, the diploid condition, but if 1 chromosome is taken from each pair, that becomes 23 and that is the haploid condition. And we all know that it is the haploid number of chromosomes which go to the gametes during gamete formation, that is meiosis. This is the karyotype of human chromosomes. The first 22 pair of chromosomes, they are known as the autosomes. Now autosomes are not represented by any letter of the alphabet. But the last pair, the 23rd pair, which are known as the allosomes or the sex chromosomes, they are represented by the letters X and Y. Now here we can see that the females have 2 X chromosomes and the males have 1 X and 1 Y chromosomes. So this XX determines the sex of the female, the XY determines the sex of the males. The autosomes have no relation with the sex of the organism. All these 23 pair of chromosomes, they have hundreds and thousands of genes present on them. Now genes present on all these chromosomes, they are different. The first pair has different genes, second has different genes. Similarly, the X have different genes and the Y also have different genes on them. All these genes are responsible for a particular character of the human. For example, the height or eye color or hair texture or thick and thin lips, etc. Genes are also known as the units of heredity, as they carry the different characters from the parents to their offsprings, that is their children. Chromosomes are the carriers of genes. Chromosomes are always present in pairs, so the genes are also always present in pairs. And normally, every gene has two alternative forms for a character producing different effects. These alternative forms of the genes, they are known as the alleles. Out of the two alleles of a gene, one is dominant or the superruling and the other is called recessive or the subordinate or the submissive gene. Now we will consider one example, tongue rolling. Tongue rolling, which is a character in humans controlled by a pair of genes. A person can roll the tongue or the person cannot roll the tongue. Tongue rolling is a dominant character and non-rolling is a recessive character. The pair of genes which control these characters, they are present on the autosomes. So here we cannot use the letters X and Y. In such cases, the first letter of the dominant character, that is used to represent that particular character. So we take the letter R here for rolling. This R is written in a capital letter to represent the dominant gene, and the same R is written in small letter to represent the recessive gene. There can be three situations in pairing. First situation, when both the genes of the pair are similar and also dominant. Such a condition is known as homozygous dominant, and obviously the person can roll the tongue. Second situation, where one of the gene is dominant and the other one is recessive. This condition, where the dissimilar genes are present, this is known as heterozygous. And because one of the genes is dominating, which will not allow the recessive gene to express itself, it is known as heterozygous dominant, and the person can roll his tongue. Third condition, where both the genes are recessive. As both the genes are similar, this condition is also known as homozygous, but it is recessive. And obviously, in the absence of any dominant gene, this person, he becomes a non-roller. That means he cannot roll his tongue. Now let us see the inheritance of tongue rolling from the following parents to their offsprings. Whenever we solve any problem on genetics, in the first line we mention the parents and write the genetic combination of the parents. From these letters, we cannot tell which one of the parents is the mother or the father, because we are not using the letters X and Y. But definitely we can say that one of the parents is having both the dominant genes for tongue rolling and the other parent is having both the recessive genes for tongue rolling. So this parent is homozygous dominant and the other parent is homozygous recessive. In second line, we write about the gametes produced by these parents. We already know, students, that during gamete formation, only half the chromosomes of the parents, that is, only one haploid set of chromosomes, goes to the gametes produced by them. So, in this situation, one of the gene represented by this particular letter R present on one chromosome goes to one of the gametes and the other R goes to another gamete. Same thing happens with this parent over here. So, this parent, who is homozygous dominant for tongue rolling, is producing all the gametes with dominant gene for tongue rolling, and this parent, who is homozygous recessive for tongue rolling, is producing all the gametes with the recessive gene for tongue rolling. In the third line, we will write about all the possible genetic combinations which can be found in the offsprings, that is the children produced by these parents. Here we are showing only 2 gametes of each of the parents. So 2 into 2 is 4. 4 possibilities are there. So we have drawn here a Punnett square with 4 boxes only. Let us assume this parent as the mother and this parent as the father. This symbol is for females and this symbol is for the males. So one side of the Punnett square we write the female gametes, capital R, and the other side of the square we write the male gametes, small r and small r. While filling the Punnett square, we write one of the female gamete, this will come here, and one of the male gamete, this will come here. And similarly, the female gamete here and the male gamete here. Same thing happens for these 2 boxes also. So let us see what are the final combinations. We see that all the 4 boxes have the same genetic combination. That means all are heterozygous dominant. This also shows that all the 4 can roll their tongues. So children, we see that if the parents, one of the parents is homozygous dominant for a particular character and the other parent is homozygous recessive for a particular character, all their children, they may produce 1 child, they may produce 2 children, 3, 4 or 10 children, they may be boys or girls, all their children will be tongue rollers and they will be heterozygous dominant only. 2 more parental genetic combinations are shown over here for tongue rolling. You find out the probability of genetic combination in their children and also whether they can roll their tongues or not. Now we come to the second part of this video, that is when to use X and Y in the genetic problems. As we saw earlier students, these are the 2 female sex chromosomes, one X plus another X, and these are the 2 male sex chromosomes, one X and one Y. We have many characters in our body which are due to the genes present on the X and the Y chromosomes. Whenever we write about such kind of character, or when we write about characters which pass from parents to offsprings due to the genes present on X or the Y chromosomes, then only we use the letters X and Y and call the inheritance as sex-linked inheritance. Let us take the example of color blindness. Genes for vision, normal vision, are located on the X chromosomes. Therefore, genes for color blindness are also located on the X chromosomes. Here also, in the first line we write about the genetic combination of the parents. Here we have written XX, so obviously this is the mother, and here we have written XY, so this is the father. One X chromosome of the mother has the normal gene for vision. This normal gene is dominant and it is not written in any alphabet, only the simple X chromosome over here, it represents the gene for normal vision, whereas the other X of the mother is carrying a small c over here. This small c represents the defective gene for color blindness. The father has normal gene for vision on X. Y does not carry the gene for vision. One X chromosome of the mother is carrying the dominant gene for normal vision. So, this dominant gene does not allow the recessive gene of color blindness on the other X chromosome to express itself. So, the mother does not suffer with color blindness. She is having normal vision. She is just a carrier of color blindness. C represents here defective gene for color blindness, whereas the father's X chromosome is having the normal dominant gene, so the father has normal vision. Second line, again we write about the gametes produced by these parents. Half the gametes produced by the mother has the X chromosome with dominant gene for normal vision, and the other half of the gametes produced by mother have the recessive gene for color blindness, whereas the half the gametes produced by the father has X chromosome with dominant gene for normal vision, and half the gametes produced by father has the Y chromosome, which does not have the gene for vision. Third line, again we write about the possible genetic combinations in the offsprings. 2 into 2, again 4 genetic combinations are possible. We have made a Punnett square with 4 boxes. We write the male gametes on one side and the female gametes on the other side. We can see that male gametes are normal X and Y, and female gametes are one normal X and one X carrying the recessive gene for color blindness. To fill up the boxes, we take X from female side, X from the male side. The combination is XX, girl with normal vision. To fill up the second box, we take this X from the female side and Y from the male side. The combination gives boy with normal vision. To fill up the third box, we take this X from the female side and this X from the male side. The combination is X and X, so it will be a girl. Of course, one of the X is carrying the dominant gene for vision, so this girl will have normal vision, but she becomes a carrier of the defective gene. She can pass on this defective gene to her future generations. Now this fourth box, we take this X from the female side and Y from the male side. Now this X is carrying the defective gene for color blindness, the recessive gene. Now this boy it is a boy and it becomes color blind. Why? Because in the absence of a dominant gene for vision, there is only one X. The boys have only one X. So in the absence of a dominant gene, this recessive gene gets a chance to express itself and the boy becomes color blind. Now students, these are the 4 possibilities. Now it depends upon the parents whether they produce one single child or they produce 2 children, 3 children, and which of these combination children are born to them. If this girl is born, she will be normal vision. If this boy by any chance is born with this genetic combination, then it will become a colorblind boy. But if this boy with this particular combination is born, the boy will be normal. And if this girl is born, the girl becomes a carrier. I have written here 2 more genetic combination for vision in the parents. You work upon these 2 and find out about the possibilities of normal vision or colorblind vision in their children. With this, I conclude this video and hope that it has served its purpose. For any doubts, please write in the comment box. Thank you all for watching.